Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel, and I am back with Love and Country. Today I will be embarking on Anton's route. We leave Emil behind at the train station because he's late. He doesn't deserve to, be waited upon by us, obviously. Not that I didn't make the decision the first time to wait for him, but now we shall choose to go on the train that we were supposed to go on to start Lillian's first spy assignment and see just what exactly happens. I'm also slightly worried because, I know I've just been reading the English translation slash gloss for the story whenever French or German comes up, but I will have no idea what the German's saying, absolutely zero. So if anything's just in German, I'm just gonna butcher it. So that's gonna be fun. But anyways, let's just I love that this is a decision. This is a button. I can just do that because we're gonna do the first one with Miss Lillian. Um, okay. Anyways, that was my intro, so we're just gonna get into it. Are you boarding, miss? Oh my gosh, I forgot that I have a mouse. We are going to not wait for Emil, like I said, and we are going. Is my mouse not working? Okay, that's fine. We're gonna board the train and leave without Emil. Oh, that's loud. The train whistle shrieks. I grit my teeth. This is it. I have to go now. Yes, I'm coming. Oh my gosh, this music's fun, but also, that sounds really loud in my ears, so hopefully it's not. This is as low as possible it can get to without me absolutely muting the volume. Actually, let me see if that's a lie or not. Okay, that should be a little better. As the words leave my lips, I see the driving rod start to shift. The train starts groaning forward. Hurry! I forgot the voice. He holds out his hand to me. Thank you. I haul my luggage forward for him to catch, walking alongside the train to keep my pace. Grabbing my wrist, he whips me up into the doorway. Well, thank you. Ah, merci beaucoup, monsieur. He tips his hat at me before scooping up my bags and leading me into the train car. I make myself comfortable in a vacant seat, letting the attendant stow my luggage overhead. My stomach flutters wildly. I try to gather my thoughts as I settle in, removing my hat and gloves. This is crazy. I shouldn't be doing this alone. But what other choice did I have? Emil never showed. Very true. What other choice did you have? In a strange way, I did get my wish. I have to wonder if that's a good thing, though. I hug myself and rest my head against the window to steady my nerves. I'm no stranger to travel, but it has mostly been chaperoned, the kinds of trips that would be deemed proper for a young lady. This is entirely different. There's no safety net. The prospect of crossing the border on my own and under false pretenses is daunting, to say the least. And that's the easy part. Getting back to Switzerland with denim in tow will be harder. I just have to hope that Emil catches up later. If he wants to, that is. Okay, so we're still hoping that Emil's gonna catch up. He better. Also, I'd love to see Emil. I am biased, but whatever. Sorry, Anton. This reader really loves Emil, so you're really gonna step it up. For all I know, he may have quit spy work after meeting me last night. Gazing out the window, I barely take in the city passing by. Instead, I'm picturing the task ahead of me. And coming up blank. What should I expect? I feel like I'm walking down a dark hallway, knowing only that I need to reach the end of it. I can still hear this music quite a bit, so hopefully that's much better. Okay. As the train pushes away from the city, the buildings begin to melt into farms. The land starts growing greener. One could almost forget that there is a war being waged just east of here. After a while, the initial anxieties I felt subside, leaving boredom in their wake. The rhythm of the train rocks me back and forth, and my eyelids begin to grow heavy. Oh, I love napping on a moving vehicle if I'm allowed to, in terms of safety purposes. But I too would get sleepy on a train. No, I can't fall asleep. Not while traveling alone. I was gonna be shocked actually if Lillian fell asleep. I was like, girl, you're by yourself. I need something to keep me awake. Perhaps a game. What can you tell me about that person? Margot would say. This is a question Margot asked me often when she first took me in. It was her way of testing my observation skills and deductive reasoning. I covertly direct my attention to my fellow passengers. On the opposite side of the car is a small family. The mother is dressed in black. She's in mourning. The father is nowhere to be seen. Perhaps lost at the front. Her two children, a boy and girl, look too young to be of much help to their exhausted mother. The girl tugs on her mother's skirts, begging for her mother to kiss the winking doll clutched in her other arm. The boy swings his skinny legs back and forth, kicking the seat in front of them. I hope this family is on their way to a relative who might provide assistance. Little ones are a handful, even in the best of times. A few seats over from the family is a pair of nuns. The elder of the two has a sheen coating on her face. I suppose their habits must be very warm. Then again, the younger of the two seems perfectly comfortable, so comfortable that she is starting to nod off. The elder nun is watching her companion, waiting. As the younger finally gives in to the call of sleep, the elder lifts a shaking hand into her robes and pulls out a flask. How fun. I guess she has a drinking problem. God is still watching, sister. My eyes then come to rest on the man sitting across the aisle from me. There is no silver in his blonde hair, but there are the slightest lines near his eyes. So, older. I also would wager early 30s. He's in his early 30s, I'd wager. His suit is pressed and well cared for, but not ostentatious. He's definitely not a soldier. Perhaps he has the connections to avoid the front. The newspaper opened in front of him seems to have his rapt attention. He appears to be traveling alone, which means he could be here on business. A salesman, perhaps. I'd certainly buy whatever he had to sell. Lillian. Oh, I forgot. She really likes this guy. She likes... Okay, I don't know why I act like people are not going to recognize that this is Anton. But she really likes him. I feel like, does she have the same reaction to Emil? Or not really, because Emil's personality really shines through. I mean, she does think that he's handsome. And he has attractive features, like physical features, but his personality really, really overtook those first impressions. I wince at myself. Down, girl. But he is handsome, and there's no ring on his finger. Part of the game. Who is this person? We have to check. Is this a married man or not? Most likely not. Interesting. I watch his eyes scan the contents of his newspaper. They're brown. No, lighter. Maybe hazel. Oh, suddenly, those hazel eyes are locked with mine. My goodness. I remember that this happened and it still got me. I instinctively look away. Damn, I should have been more subtle while making my observations. Margot would be clicking her tongue at me in disapproval right now were she here. I give the man a darting glance to see if he has returned to his paper. Our eyes meet again. Shoot. Well, now it's awkward if I don't acknowledge it. I offer a small, somewhat apologetic smile. He responds with a friendly wave. Okay, because Anton, at least seemingly, like, initially, he has a really good, like, he seems friendly enough, or at least can pick up on social cues and can be pleasant, I would think. Having satisfied the social contract, he returns his reading and I to my thoughts. Unfortunately, my thoughts keep turning back to him. I have an urge to steal another glimpse. When I ultimately give in, I'm startled to find him already watching me, his paper abandoned and folded in his lap. You guys are so fun. I love this for you. My goodness. Heat blossoms on my cheeks, prompting him to smile. It's a nice smile, too, the kind that draws people in. We hold each other's gaze for a moment. The dot dot dot. And now that we've made contact, neither one of us seems sure of what to do. After a beat, he seems to find his way again, giving a meaningful look towards the other passengers as if to say, "Did you see that?" He's directing my attention to the nuns. I nod my head enthusiastically, motioning my hands in the sign of the cross, then tip my hand like a bottle to my lips. We both look back to the nun just in time to see her sneak another swig from her flask, causing us both to laugh. I finally lean over the aisle to speak to him. Do you suppose that's holy water or sacrificial wine? Oh, they're like side profiles. They're nice. Oh, Anton's is too. Okay. He knits his brow, then offers an apologetic smile. I'm sorry. My French isn't that good. Oh, my eyes fall down to the paper on his lap. Deutsch Allgemeine Zeitung? Zeitung. That's a German paper. How did I not notice that before? This may be a chance to practice my skills. I repeat my joke. I can't read. I'm gonna try. Meinen sei, dass die zwei Wasser oder Opferwein. Opferwein? A look of delighted surprise crosses his face. I'd say both, but it doesn't look like she'll be performing any miracles today. His response makes me chuckle. Look at them both smiling. They're like, ha ha ha, this is so fun. How lucky am I that you speak German? I modestly look down, almost by a reflex, before looking back at him through my lashes. He shifts his body to face the aisle, opening himself to the conversation. How lucky am I to meet someone to practice my German with? I have to say, it's rather bold of you to be reading a German newspaper on a train full of French people. He gives a self-effacing shrug. I thought I could get away with it since it isn't so crowded here. You are very observant. Are you American? Forgive me, I was guessing based on your accent. Oh, almost sounds... Well, maybe this works for me because my British kinda doesn't sound British. Oh, we can do that? Okay. The way he enunciates his English almost sounds British. He must have learned in some fancy European school. Does he come from money? Your German is very good, though, as is your French, I'm assuming. Oh, hell. I still have work to do if you could tell that I was American right away. Not at all. 3 languages is very impressive for one person. Very true, I agree. It was the only way my parents would agree to finishing school in Europe. They wouldn't say yes unless I could ask them in at least 2 other languages. I know a bit more than just French and German, but no need to bring that up. So true. Oh, what other languages do you know, Lillian? I don't want to seem braggadocious, even though I feel like he'd praise me for it. My knack for languages is a large part of why Margot took me on in the first place. I can't wait to tell her how I got to use my German without even leaving France. So, you are here for school? Not anymore. I fell in love with Paris and decided to stay after graduating. Nothing expands one's horizons quite like travel. Ja. And it's good to do it while you have the time, even if you have to do it alone. True that, I agree. Wow, I'm agreeing with businessman. Yes. A slight knot forms in my stomach. A young woman traveling alone through a war-torn continent looks foolish. Not that it's my fault. Emile. You Americans are so... Why Sarkman? I don't know. I study his face as he searches for the word. Ridiculous. Reckless. Foolhardy. Intrepid. He beams at me. You are like Nellie Bly. An American investigative journal famed for taking a trip around the world in a record-breaking 72 days. That's cool. That's a flattering assumption. The truth is, my travel companion abandoned me. It must have been quite the emergency to keep them away from someone like you. I'll gladly take their place, if you'll have me. This could be a pleasant distraction from my anxieties. After all, it's not a short train ride. That would be wonderful. He smiles as he slips across the aisle to sit with me. With him so near now, I can't help but feel a little giddy. He will definitely be distracting. I get it, girl, but oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? As he gets settled, a stray blonde hair comes loose from his pomaded head and falls over one of his eyes. He doesn't brush it back, instead giving me his full attention. He's oddly carefree for someone so seemingly put together. What should I call you, Fräulein? I'm Lillian. Oh, you want me to call you by your first name? It suddenly occurs to me that he might see this as rude or presumptuous. Sorry, this isn't customary here, right? No, but for you, I'll make an exception. I'm Anton. Sorry, we all knew it was going to be Anton. Let's be honest, we saw him on the title screen. So, what's waiting for you in Switzerland, Lillian? My lips part, ready with an answer, then abruptly close. Since I boarded the train so quickly, I hadn't really given proper thought to my cover story. His brows knit together in concern as I flounder. A visit to relatives is safe enough a reason to give. No one wants to get too deep into someone else's family business. I'm visiting an uncle. Another expat like me. So, it runs in the family then? Yes, wanderlust must be hereditary. He chuckles. You have a wonderful sense of humor. That's not hereditary, I'm afraid. My father especially. He thinks W.C. Fields is a buffoon. An American comedian and stage performer. Ah, I have a brother who is the very same. Nothing is funny to that man. Sounds like the two of us are the black sheep of our families, then. Black sheep? The ones who stand out from the rest of the flock. That's cute. I can't take credit. It's just one of those phrases. We Germans have a lot of those, but they're mostly about sausage. You're joking. I'm not. For instance, we say, Spiel nicht die beliebte Leberwurst. Don't play the sulking liverwurst. Yeah, don't pout, more or less. Es ist mir Wurst. That's my sausage? Use that to mean that something doesn't really matter. Then there is Eles hat sein Ende. Ande. Nur die Wurst hat zwei. Oh my god, this is terrible. I'm sorry. Sorry, Anton. Everything has an end, only a sausage has two. You see, I could go on, but I'm sure you don't want to talk about sausages for the rest of the trip. Oh, I don't know. Sausages can be quite diverting. Oh, indeed? Wait, I feel like part of me sounded a little too nervous. Excuse me. Oh, indeed. We try our best to hold a straight face, but we end up giggling together like a pair of schoolmates nonetheless. I clear my throat and sit up straight. Okay, I've gotten the dirty jokes out of the way. We can have an adult conversation now. You're right. What do adults talk about? Thanks. He makes a face. The weather? My god, Adults are boring. Maybe we're better off talking about sausages. Well, I'll ask you a question then. Before you said you could tell I was American by my accent. Have you met any Americans? A few, through business. I had some dealings with a man from New York City. The way he described it made it sound incredible. I'd really love to visit someday. You are not from New York, are you? No, San Francisco. It's on the West Coast. What is it like there? I tell him about growing up in San Francisco. Most of my memories are of the city under construction after the earthquake and fire of 1906. As disastrous as it was for the city, my family was relatively unscathed, and by the time I left for Europe, most of the city had been rebuilt. It makes for good storytelling, particularly since my audience has never experienced a quake. I start reminiscing about all of the other unique things about my hometown. The cable cars, the Chinese market, the rolling hills. He particularly likes the story of my friends and I using a crate on wheels to skate down said hills, nearly crashing into an apple cart in the process. He calls me Drofganger, which I take to mean daredevil after his explanation of me being absolutely fearless. He's quick to compliment me and expressive as I tell him my stories. An avid listener. Ooh, do like that. That's nice. An hour or two passes like this, him following along, asking more questions about my life, offering the occasional joke and volleying with me. It's pleasant. I see him check his pocket watch. We're a little over halfway there, I think. I'm feeling a little parched. How about you? A coffee or tea would be lovely. If you're up for a little adventure, we could seek out the dining car. Lead the way. Mine. Her? Probably. Whatever that means. Mine something. My something. As he takes me through the train cars, he keeps glancing back at me and then smiling to himself. I find myself doing the same. In fact, my cheeks are sore from all the grinning. I've talked to plenty of men before, but never without an aim. This is different. It feels as though we could be friends. After all, we have no shortage of conversation. I do love when conversation is not in shortage. It's a shame I'll have to leave him behind when we reach Basil. I feel like I could go on forever like this. Ooh, dining car time. When we reach the dining car, we take a seat for two and Anton orders us coffee. His French is actually not so bad as he claims. Seems like he's modest. I stir the sugar into my coffee, then offer a cube to him. He takes 3. Quite the sweet tooth you have there. Too few things in life are sweet. Present company excepted, of course. You must take sweetness where you can find it. That's a lot of philosophy to put into a cup of coffee. But I can't disagree. The best thing is to just take a piece of chocolate and stir it right into the coffee. What? Honestly, I have not tried that. That sounds... With coffee? Yeah, I could see that. You should try it, especially once you get to Switzerland. Swiss chocolate is to die for. Do you have any other Swiss recommendations? Saffron risotto. It is a specialty. It's a specialty. I need to try that. Okay. Saffron. It is a spice that looks like little red threads. People call it red gold because the threads must be handpicked from the center of a small purple flower that only blooms in the fall. That makes it hard to come by. But the red is such a beautiful color, not unlike your hair. Normally, I don't like people commenting on my hair because it has always made me feel self-conscious. When he does it, though, somehow I don't mind. Oh, Lillian. The saffron turns everything that cooks with it into a brilliant orange, and it smells almost like honey. That smells like heaven. It is. His gaze lingers on me a moment as I sip my coffee. I realize with some embarrassment that he's watching my lips. I blush, but he just smiles. I have to say, I don't think I've had a more pleasant train ride. He pauses, mulling over his words. Anton? Suddenly, he waves his hand. His reverie is seemingly broken. It's nothing. He changes the subject, asking me about where else in Europe I've been. I want to know what he was about to say, but it seems impolite to press it. He pays for our coffees, and we head back to our seats. I catch myself smiling as we happen upon each way in which our opinions match. There is something so easy about Anton, almost familiar. Not in the sense that we've met before, I wouldn't forget a man like this, but in the sense that he wouldn't seem out of place if I met him anywhere in my life. So much of the propaganda I've seen demonizes Germans, makes them seem alien. No doubt there have been brutal acts committed in this war. Away from the battlefield, though, the German people are probably not so very different. As I'm carried away by this line of thought, we fall into a comfortable silence. Anton catches me, giving him a considered look. I'd give I'm trying to do slightly British, but I can't. Okay. I'd give anything to know what you're thinking about right now. Anything. Within reason. I grin, but my eye is drawn to the rushing scenery out the window. I was wondering what you were like, outside of this train. How you spend your days. I see his reflection frown. I'm sure that can't be interesting to you. You wanted to know what I was thinking. That's the truth. And you did say you'd give anything. So, I think I'll take my payment in the form of an answer. I'm tired of talking about myself. Well, most of my time goes to work. It sounds like you don't like your work. I don't, particularly. And when I'm at home, I'm doing what I can to keep my family happy. A life of obligation and duty. Oh, a life of obligation and duty. There's something a little lonely in his eyes, and it feels contagious. My life isn't free of duties and obligations either, but I don't want to think of any of that right now. I'd rather much forget them and just be here in the moment. I will say, that is a nice... I feel like that's a nice foreshadow. Or at least, given what's happened if you've watched me play Emil's Route, those themes of duty and obligation tend to come up, so I think that's kind of nice that we get that in this conversation here. I'd rather much forget them and just be in the moment. I notice Anton has joined me in looking out the window. His solemnity leaves me feeling a bit guilty. I didn't mean to make you sad. For a split second he seems surprised, but then he shakes his head with a smile. You did no such thing. It's my fault. My mind drifts to the negative and, well, it catches one off guard. Can I share something with you? Something that might sound a bit selfish? I shift myself in my seat to face him head on. Every day I do one thing that is entirely for myself. Every day, I'll give myself an extra 10 minutes in the bath, or I'll take the long way home so that I can stop at the bakery that does the best croissants. Don't laugh, they are very good croissants. Lillian, I get you. You gotta get your good croissants. Such a hedonist. I slap his shoulder playfully. You ought to give it a try. Promise me you will. I find myself clutching at his sleeve, asking with far more earnestness than warranted. He surveys me with amusement before answering. Are you sure you wouldn't want to ask for something else? I tilt my head, puzzled by the question. Because I think I'd promise you just about anything right now. Blush. Damn, smooth, Anton. Okay. I feel myself growing hot. I force my eyes to my lap to avoid his penetrating gaze, knowing I might melt if I meet it. Also me. I too. Honestly, very appropriate reaction. I am like, damn. I too would feel this way. Damn, Anton. Okay. I can't remember the last time a man made me feel shy. I brush off most advances with an eye roll. But Anton's words make me break into a wide grin. He leans over, attempting to catch my eye, clearly tickled by my reaction. Why are you looking away like that? Have I said something awkward? No, no. I just, that, it made me happy. As our train comes to a stop, I find myself throwing darting glances at Anton. He returns them with smiles, pleased at his effect on me. We stand and start gathering our belongings. I find my hat box stowed on the luggage rack just out of my reach. Anton has no trouble retrieving it for me. It's a good thing I made friends with someone so tall. I hope I brought more to the table than my height. When you are as short as I am, 5 hours of conversation is a small price to pay to ensure I'll get my things back at the end of the journey. What a joke. I should have seen it coming. Indeed. So the question is now, do I continue allowing you to use me or let you manage on your own? Your assistance would be greatly appreciated in this matter, mine Herr. He mocks, giving the matter consideration until I start batting my lashes at him. Well, I can't say no to that. With that, he picks up my bags and escorts me through the train car. We're in Switzerland, y'all. As we exit the train, he is the picture of a gentleman, offering his hand to assist not only me, but also the tipsy nun and her sleepy companion. Through the joking and teasing, his arm is strong and steady. Ooh. Just being with him is so pleasant that I almost forget where we are. The crowds on the platform seem to vanish from my periphery as we walk side by side. It isn't until we come to a halt that the haze lifts. He looks reluctant as he sets down my bags. Well, Lillian, this is where we must part. My heart sinks. These words shouldn't be a surprise. Things were always going to end this way. It was inevitable. But I foolishly hadn't acknowledged it much until now. It takes a moment for reason to return to me. It was an unexpected pleasure, Anton. He smiles wistfully. Where will you go from here? Home. Back to Berlin. I nod, unsure of what to say now. A silence descends on us, and Anton starts to look sheepish and uncomfortable. The confidence that seemed so much a part of Anton before leaves him. He stares at his feet for a moment before finding my eyes again. I don't suppose that I could write to you. My mouth goes dry. All of the reasons why such a correspondence would be out of the question suddenly flood my mind. I work for the Deuxième Bureau. I just can't exchange letters with someone from an enemy state. For everything that Anton is, sweet, funny, and a perfect gentleman, it doesn't change the fact that he's a German national, and we are at war. As much as I don't want to, we have to part ways now. Continuing our acquaintance is out of the question. I fumble for a gentle way to put him off. My situation in Paris isn't really permanent, and I don't know where I will go next. He looks the way I feel, crestfallen. If I didn't have other responsibilities, I would. But as it stands, I have no choice but to turn him down, and I can't even offer him a proper explanation. Bruh, this sucks. Yes, I know I'm on Team Emile, but this really sucks. I watch his face, and my gut wrenches. I see. Well, if you ever find yourself in Berlin, perhaps you could look me up. Reaching into his breast pocket, he pulls out a card and hands it to me. A.W. Shipman Stahlworks, Almsterdamstraße 58, Berlin. Shipman Stahlworks? Steel mill in German. The Shipman family made their money in manufacturing. The family business. If you contact the office, they'll know how to reach me. Sure, if I'm ever in Berlin. I agree, though I know it to be extremely unlikely. The war would have to end, and it won't be any time soon. He probably thinks the worst of me now. I want to kick myself. Yeah, so. I hope you enjoy your visit with your uncle. Auf Wiedersehen, Lillian. Wiedersehen? Question mark? I don't know. The way that people say it here in America, I don't know what it is. Okay. Anyways, sorry. Tender moment here. Goodbye, Anton. He opens his mouth like he has something else to say, but opts for a tip of his hat instead. He turns on his heel and soon disappears into the crowded platform. As I stare at the spot Anton was a moment ago, a curious sense of loss washes over me. I've always looked at my career with the DB as something that would free me from the confines of a normal life. I never thought about things that I would miss out on, like meeting someone by happenstance and pursuing that relationship. My life really isn't my own anymore. I stare down at my feet, not quite willing to move. I have to go. I know I do. But I'm stuck where I stand. If I take a step, then my mission officially begins. This is what I wanted, though. Since the moment Margot sat me down and presented the idea of training under her, I've been working diligently to get where I am now. So why am I torn? She promised me excitement. But more importantly, she promised me that what I did would have an impact. All that is coming true now. I'm on a mission and someone's life is in my hands. Herbert Denham is counting on me. I can't falter. Not now that I'm at the precipice. Putting Anton Shutman behind me, I take a deep breath and start walking across the platform. First things first, I need to send word back to Margot. Heading to the concourse, I search for a telegraph exchange. Margot Sinclair, post Lillian Sinclair is sending this to, so this is to Madame Negribi, this is the address. Emile, not at the train station, went on by myself or alone. I don't know what all this means. Hours, whatever, what time it is. Cool. Lillian. Oh, sorry. Emile's not at the station, proceeded alone. At least now Margot will know what happened. Maybe she can figure out Emile's whereabouts. With that taken care of, I prepare to enter enemy territory, Germany. The Badeiser Bahnhof is an old train station. It technically resides on the Swiss side of the Rhine, but a series of subterranean tunnels lead to the German border. I follow the posted signage until I reach the back of a long line. Please have your papers ready. It used to be that you could cross borders without any trouble. Since the war broke out, entering most countries requires some sort of travel documentation. I pull out my passport and check it. There should be no issue with mine. After all, Germany is not at war with America. But the last stamp shows that I've been staying in France. Will that be an issue? The line creeps forward, slowly as the guards check each person's papers. I'm almost to the front of the line now. Just stay calm. Next! A bored civil servant. Tongue twister. Let's hope his ennui has left him inattentive. I report to the window and slide my passport under the glass. The guard inspects it for a moment before giving me an expectant look. And your travel license? What? You need a passport and a travel license to enter. But I don't have a license. Then you will have to go back to... He glances back at my passport. Paris. I don't have time to go all the way back to Paris. I've got to think of something, fast. I'm sorry, miss. Please step out of line. I need a reason to be here that is time-sensitive. Maybe I'm still visiting relatives, but someone is on their deathbed. I must see my uncle, though. He's sick. The guard looks at me with exhaustion, but I can see there's a dash of pity there as well. I'll use that. I turn my face away for a moment and gently rub my eyes. Hopefully it reads like I'm trying to compose myself. When I look back at him, I keep my eyes wide and will myself not to blink. Right on cue, they start to water. He's very sick. Think sad thoughts. What if I don't make it back in time? The tears start to flow down my cheeks. I quicken my breathing. I can't. I hear grumbles of impatience from the people waiting in line behind me. The guard looks deeply uncomfortable. Either he will let me through to avoid a scene, or will have to get someone to escort me away. As I'm gearing up for my next push, okay, Lillian, acting mode, I feel a hand on my back. Ooh, guess who? What's wrong? It's... Anton? I can't let her through without a license. He turns from the guard back to me. The warmth I remembered him for is completely absent now. Yeah, he looks super severe. His bronze eyes bore down at me, scrutinizing. I start to move my mouth, but words refuse to come. I had told him that my uncle was in Switzerland. A dumb mistake. Will he call me out on it here? His expression lacks any indication of what he's about to do next. I can't even read properly because I'm in anticipation. This is where the demo ended, so I have no idea what's going to happen. I level my gaze, imploring him silently. Surely an exception can be made. Is he helping me? He steps between me and the window. I'm grateful for the shield his back provides, as it gives me a moment to recompose myself. Just this once. I see him pull something from his jacket and slide it under the glass. I try to peer over his shoulder to catch a glimpse, but I'm not quite tall enough. The guard looks over whatever was just handed to him and tails. She's American. She doesn't know any better. I'll vouch for her. Yes, sir. Oh, sir. That's hair. Because in French, sometimes, most of the time, the H doesn't happen, or the sound at least, but sometimes it does, so I just go into the mode of not saying it, but okay. Sir, that's what hair is. Wait, what just happened? The guard slides everything back under the glass to my rescuer. As he turns back to me, I see my passport on top of the stack. All right, please proceed. What kind of person has that much sway? Who exactly is Anton? He places his hand on my lower back and guides me through the turnstile. Oh, okay, we're in Germany now. Okay. The crowds on the German side of the station are thinner and full of armed soldiers. Fortunately, they pay us no mind as we hasten down the corridor. His hand is still firmly fixed on my back, urging me along. We stop in front of the public telephones, none of which are currently in use. Seemingly satisfied that we are far enough away from the checkpoint, he unfolds my passport. Lillian Talora Sinclair. I look up at him expectantly. Isn't he going to give me my passport back? Why is he reading it? Just as I open my mouth to ask, he fixes me with a look. Not the soft, honeyed gaze he gave me before, but a hard, stony one. It makes my blood run cold. I didn't think we would be seeing each other again. Nor I. At least not so soon, right? I offer a sheepish smile, but he doesn't return it. The man inspecting my passport is completely different from the one who sipped coffee with me in the dining car just hours ago. I wouldn't have thought the same man would treat me so coldly now. Suspicion has transformed him. But he did still help me, I think, though I'm not sure how he managed to do it. I attempt to re-engage him with a tentative question. Anton, how were you able to get me past that guard? He doesn't look up. He seems to be checking every line. Nevertheless, he answers a bit brusquely. I bribed him. Security in this country is a joke. Lillian, what are you doing here? There is a faint tinge of exasperation to his voice, as if he's inconvenienced in some way. Like I told you before, I'm visiting my uncle. Yes, in Switzerland. But here you are, in Germany. My pulse begins to quicken. Why the hell did I ever make up that story? He was supposed to meet me at the station, but I couldn't find him. Luckily, he left word with the station master that I'm to meet him in Lorac. He narrows his eyes, but says nothing. He took ill very suddenly. I'm told there's a very good doctor here who can treat him. It must be a serious illness to put you in such a state. His family. Of course I'm upset. With each prodding question, I spit out another lie. A panic begins to surge inside me, that combined with the betrayal I feel might be enough to make me crumble. How long can I keep this up? Honestly, girl, this is part of the job, but you got it. I believe in you. Anton doesn't seem ready to let go of his misgivings. I need to put an end to this. I'll try turning the questions back on him. Why are you interrogating me anyway? What are you, a policeman? No, I'm not a policeman. I'm simply trying to put the pieces together. After all, you told me you were doing one thing, and now are now doing something else. I couldn't read. Putting the pieces together, like I'm a puzzle, but this doesn't feel like personal interest. There's something I'm missing. I just explained to you what happened. My circumstances changed. Just Give me my passport back, please, and I'll be on my way. No, I don't think I will. He swiftly tucks it into his inside coat pocket. What does he think he's doing? Is this some sort of game that no one told me we were playing? Wow, I can't believe this is a big 180 and like almost immediate one from like our train conversations. My nails begin to dig into my palms. I lean in slightly, lowering my voice. Why are you doing this, Anton? What good is my passport to you? Sorry, I'm just laughing at the ridiculousness of this line. I'd like to spend more time together. His answer catches me off guard. What? It's selfish, I know, but I'd like more time with you. And I know the moment I hand your passport back, you are going to disappear again. That's sort of sweet, but I'm not sure I believe him now. I too would not believe him. Something is off. Is it the way he's looking at me? Or the tone of his voice? I can't quite put my finger on it. For now, I go along with the pretext. If you just want to spend more time with me, you don't need collateral. Don't I? I'm fairly certain if I ask you to dinner now, you'll say yes, if only to get your passport back. I have to go to my uncle. He's expecting me. Such a delay of an hour or two would make no difference. I mean, I feel like it would make a difference, like, legitimately, if this was, like, this is my sick relative and I don't know how long. Like, yes, he's getting treatment, but, like, maybe his condition's not the most stable. I don't like, see, this is where I'm like, immediately losing the charming points, Anton. Like, I kind of liked you, and I, like, knew that, but, like, I guess this is his other side related to his work that we'll learn more about. But I guess we'll see. Wow, Lillian is a bit shorter. Like, I think she's like 5 something. I'm assuming he's closer to 6. I don't know. I'm not very good with height, like getting a estimate. That's what I'm trying to say. Height estimates. Anyways, I feel trapped by his insistence. If I agree to dinner, do you promise to return my passport? You have my word. I'm not sure what this man's word is worth, but the fact remains it will be infinitely harder to complete my mission without my passport. I won't be able to pass through the checkpoint without it. Another, perhaps riskier option is abandoning my passport altogether in order to prioritize finding Denham. He may have some suggestions on how to proceed. 2 heads are better than 1 after all, and his head is much more experienced than mine. On the other hand, if having dinner with Anton really is all it would take to get my documents back, there isn't a precise time arranged to meet Denham. I'm not even sure he's expecting me. If only I had a firmer grasp on Mr. Denham's circumstances. As it stands, I have no way of knowing if delay now will hurt us. The one thing I can be sure of is that losing my passport will become a problem eventually. Anton watches as I mull over my choices, still expecting my answer. I didn't think I was alone in feeling something between us earlier. I mean, yeah, you were cute, but now I don't like this. Like, it's giving me, like, you're making her go along with you, you know? And, like, we don't like that. I don't like that. I was right. I mean, no hate to the Anton lovers, but, okay, it's too early. But I don't like this situation. The earnestness of his statement takes me aback. Could this truly be a sincere, if misguided, attempt by him to continue our acquaintance? It would still be very weird to me. Like, even though, like, she's kind of into it, but, like, it's still weird. I study his eyes, attempting to divine the truth. He wasn't alone in his feelings before. I was genuinely taken with him on the train, and I regretted the way I said goodbye. Turning him down before the platform felt awful precisely because of how much I do like him. But offering the truth was not possible. I had to let him walk away confused, questioning his own perceptions. If I were in his shoes, I too would have wondered what went wrong. I'd be looking at this as another chance. No, you weren't. Then, what do you say? Dang, okay, we gotta go save. Okay, we're gonna go to dinner. I'm so curious. We're gonna go to dinner. That's the smart thing to do. I'll be a sitting duck here in Germany without my papers. The choice is clear. I have to get them back. As long as it's only an hour or so. We can go to dinner.
Wunderbar.
Anton offers me his arm. I can handle him, can't I? I realize now the irony of thinking I'd made an acquaintance for which I had no ulterior motive. Now look at me. But I can do it. I can still win the day. Mustering all of the confidence I can manage, I attach myself to him and allow him to escort me from the station.
You better be carrying her bags, mister.
This honestly shouldn't be difficult. We built up a repartee, flirting, good conversation, 5 hours of it. He may be suspicious of my actions, but I know at least that he enjoys my company. I look up at him and give him a small smile. He returns it, but his expression is reserved, not quite reaching his eyes. There's a polite distance. That's not the smile of a man desperate to continue our acquaintance. My mind starts wandering to dark places as we stroll down the cobblestone streets. If his goal isn't to spend time with me like he said, then what is his aim? I start to take stock of my surroundings. There are plenty of people in the streets, out and about, running errands and conducting their daily business. There's no shortage of men in gray uniforms milling about, too. Soldiers.
What has you so on edge?
Did I tense and inadvertently grip Anton's arm a little tighter? Or is he just noticing what is drawing my attention? I didn't think Laroc was close to the front.
It isn't.
There are a lot of soldiers here, though.
This is a border town with a large train station nearby. Considering the men have to get to the front and back often, is it really that surprising that there would be a military presence here?
I suppose not.
Does their presence bother you?
It's very unnerving. Bother isn't the right word. They are just a reminder of the war.
I think there would have been a lot of reminders in Paris.
I try to change the subject by pointing out mundane things like how charming the clock tower is and how adorable this or that shop looks. Anton plays at the conversation, letting me prattle on and giving easy answers when required. It rings hollow and superficial, like a pantomime. We journey on past the town center. Each step forward seems to sap a little more of my confidence away. I may very well be marching into a trap. Where are we having dinner?
Here we are. Where?
We stop in front of a half-timbered building with a wooden sign hanging over the door. Gasthaus Bischof? I don't know. Anton holds the door open for me.
After you, Lillian.
I half expect a guillotine blade to follow as I enter. Ooh, it looks nice though. But this is nothing more than a restaurant. Small but well furnished, with dark wood trim around the windows and doorways, and metal lamps providing a soft, flattering light to the tables below. A savory smell hits my nose, reminding me that I am hungry. If this is some sort of trap, it's a cozy one. After we remove and hang our coats, Anton guides me over to a small table and pulls out a chair for me to sit. He takes his place across from me, folds his hands, and fixes me with a critical eye. Hello?
I didn't realize you had a mole right there. Or at least not. I forgot, and then I now remembered.
I busy myself with spreading my napkin over my lap. You are making me nervous.
Am I?
The way you are watching me.
How is that?
I get the feeling that he's fully aware that he's putting me ill at ease. If he thinks it's not working, he may abandon the tactic. I lean forward, tilt my head, and smile. Like I'm up to something.
What would you be up to?
All sorts of things. I'm extremely devious. The corner of Anton's mouth twitches, like he's repressing a smile. There it is. I feel buoyed. He may resist me, but I can wear him down. This is precisely what I'm trained for, after all. Just as he's about to parry me, our waiter appears with a wine card and menu. Good evening. Can I get you something to drink?
We'll have wine, I think. Do you prefer white or red?
Wine? I shouldn't. I need to stay sharp. A red, usually, but... Without waiting for me to finish my thought, he turns back to the waiter.
A bottle of Spot Burgunder.
Hope it's good.
A bottle? I'll drink what you drink tonight. Though I do recommend that you try some whites during your stay. The white wines of this region are exceptional. Ooh, good to know. I generally prefer white wine. As he returns his attention to the waiter once more, I glance down at the wine list lying on the table. There's only one spot burgunder on that list, and it's not cheap. That's an awful lot of money to spend on something I have no intention of drinking. And some bread to start. Very good. I'll be back with that shortly. Look at the little drinky drink. Oh, my radiator's going. So sorry if you hear that in the back. True to his word, the waiter is back in just a moment to pour the wine. Anton lifts his glass, waiting for me to raise mine. It would be rude to refuse, so I'll have to take at least a sip. What are we toasting? Anton thinks for a moment. Two strangers on trains. We're on a first-name basis, Anton. I don't think we qualify as strangers anymore. I suspect there's a lot I've yet to learn about you. To learning about each other, then. Cheers. Prost. Oh, is that what they say? Prost. Prost. I don't know. I actually didn't know that, but cool. Our glasses touch with a light clink. As we lift our glasses to our faces, I can't help but notice that he seems to be watching me. Then again, I'm watching him too. I inhale the heady scent of the wine as I allow a small amount of velvety liquid to roll across my tongue. Ooh, that sounds good. It blushes like blackberries, and is that vanilla I detect? Delicious. What a pity that I'll have to limit myself to just a sip. So, this is your first time in Germany, is it not? It is. How are you finding it? Hostile. Hospitable. Anton arches a brow. I mean, I've hardly touched German soil before, I can't read, okay. I mean, I'd hardly touched German soil before being forcibly escorted to a candlelight dinner. Talk about service. I swirl my wine glass with mild interest. I glance up to see that Anton is still monitoring me, a ghost of a smile on his face. Yes, we take tourism very seriously in this country. It takes a moment for the joke to land, but as it hits me, I swallow my laughter. It's funny, but this isn't the time for jokes. An odd sort of silence passes between us. Then Anton speaks again. You've chosen an interesting time to live in Europe. I'm curious how you view the situation here, as an American. You mean as an outsider? Not necessarily. The battles may not take place on American soil, but I don't think anyone is fully free from the impact of this war. That's true. I haven't been home since before the war started. Once the risk to civilian ships became clear, my parents stopped nagging me to come back to the States. The British naval blockade of Germany aimed to cut off Germany from supplies. Germany in turn used submarines to sink any neutral ship with supplies for the Allies. Eventually, all ships in the Atlantic were targeted, including passenger vessels. I see. She couldn't go back home. They aren't concerned about you living in France. Well, I'm not exactly living in the trenches. The front line isn't that far from Paris, though. What will you do if the front shifts? Into Paris? It won't. At least that's what Joffre keeps telling the papers. The General Joseph Joffre commanded French forces on the Western Front from the start of the war to the end of 1916. So, you are hoping for victory for the Allied forces? This conversation is venturing into dangerous territory. Absolutely. I'm living in Paris. I'm not about to welcome an army to my front door. Your front door? I suppose you've been there long enough to consider it home. 5 years, wasn't it? Enough with this line of questions. Time to pivot. Politics aside, I'd just like to see the fighting come to an end. Wouldn't you? So many have died already. How can it be justified? Germany's enemies surround her on all sides. When the Russians began mobilizing, war was inevitable, especially given that France would also attack, if only to honor her treaties. But the consequences have been horrific. How can you support it? I merely stated facts. I never shared my opinion. So, what is your opinion? Doesn't matter. We are all the Kaiser's men at the end of the day.
Wilhelm II was the last German emperor and king of Prussia. His haphazard foreign policy escalated tensions, which became one of many factors contributing to the outbreak of World War I. During the war, the Kaiser held little actual power, but used his influence to encourage the war aims of his generals. You dislike the Kaiser. I say this more as an observation than anything else. He gives a little half smile and leans in. Tell me, do you agree with every decision your President Wilson makes? I mean, let's be honest, who agrees with every single action or opinion of their nation's leader? I'd be shocked, honestly. I mean, actually, I would think most people don't, but there are definitely some people, but whatever. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that. Woodrow Wilson was an American president who served 2 terms between 1913 and 1921. Wilson had initially opted for neutrality at the outbreak of World War I, but eventually called for war against Germany in 1917 due to the unrestricted sinking of American merchant ships by German submarines. He also supported racial segregation. We don't love that. We don't. Why are we separated? Oh, okay. Anyways, that's another issue. Goodness me. That's hard to say. I've been away from home for so long that I don't know much about what's happening in American politics anymore. It would be strange if you did. In America, if you disagree with your leaders, you can vote them out of office. Things work differently here. I watch him as he rests his lips on the edge of his glass, his gaze floating to the side. He clearly doesn't want to openly state an opinion, and with good reason. How much is political dissent tolerated here? But I can surmise what he means. Curious as I am, it's best to leave this subject for now. Our waiter returns with a basket, which he sets before us, providing a welcoming opportunity to move on from this tense subject. Anton pulls back the cloth covering the freshly baked bread, only to stop short when he sees the contents. What? He looks like is he grossed out? What? Is it not good? What? Potato bread? Germany imported most of its wheat. Imports halted by wartime resulted in widespread grain shortages. Wheat flour was supplemented with mashed potato, resulting in a soft, springy bread that lacks a proper crust. Okay. Potato bread. So disappointing. It's a good thing I'm not in charge of peace negotiations. I give everything away just to end the flour shortages. He pouts, and for a moment I can see the man from the train who stirred far too much sugar into his coffee. But it's gone just as quickly as it came. He leaves the bread in the basket and turns his attention back to me. So, this uncle you're visiting. Tell me about him. This is the last thing I want to discuss. Whatever I say is pure fiction, so I'll need to be careful not to contradict myself. It will be best to stay vague on details and change the subject again as quickly as possible. As uncles go, he's a pretty great one. We have some good memories together. What about your family? Are you close with them? I wouldn't go that far. We keep in touch. I speak with my brother more often than the others, due to family business. Oh, the grumpy one who's not funny. That's the one. You sound close with your family, though. At least with your uncle. Damn, back to my uncle again. Do you know what ails him? Is he asking to keep the conversation going, or is he pumping me for information? I'm not entirely sure. The message he left me just said that he was very sick, and he's not prone to exaggeration or dramatic, so I know it must be quite serious. You must take after another family member, then. Excuse me? At the train station, you put on quite the display for the guard. A panic starts brewing in the pit of my stomach. You don't even know what is wrong with your uncle, yet you implied he was on his deathbed. If you are suggesting I employed theatrics to bypass security, it'd be more suspicious to deny this accusation than to admit it. You are right. I was worried when I received the note. My uncle is a sickly man to begin with. I wasn't about to let anyone turn me away. But you accepted my dinner invitation instead of going straight to him. Why didn't you put me off? Tell me that you meet me later to get your passport back. This isn't just him satisfying curiosity. He's trying to catch me. Anton said he wasn't a policeman, but what if he's a German agent? What are the odds that we'd be on the same train from Paris, unless the Germans knew we were coming? What if Anton Schuttman has been on to me from the moment we first spoke? The thought sends shivers down my spine. No, Lillian, think rationally. If Reddy knew what you were up to, he would have taken you to a jail cell, not a restaurant. That points to our encounter being a coincidence. He must be asking these questions because he doesn't know what I'm here for, only that I've aroused his suspicions. A delay of an hour or two is one thing. A trip to Paris and back is another entirely. You can't blame me for not wanting to go through that. I don't, but you were risking a lot more than just being turned away. Would it have been worth it if you were arrested for causing a disturbance? I hadn't thought of that. Of course I had. The fear of arrest hasn't left me since the moment I left Paris, but I'm willing to play the damsel if it lets me regain the upper hand in this situation. If what happened back in the train was real, then it's safe to assume he finds me attractive. He may be too wary of me now to fall for anything, but I'm not sure I have a better play. I cast my gaze downward before looking back at him through my eyelashes. It's lucky you came to my rescue. Who knows what would have happened to me otherwise? I'm grateful. Anton takes a slow sip of the wine he's barely touched until now. He appears unfazed, ignoring my pout in favor of moving along. It was nothing. You seemed like you needed help, and I gave it. I wonder if I can be of even more use to you. Your uncle, for instance. Where is he staying? Oh, I wish I'd had time to study a map of the area. I might have been able to give Anton a false lead here. Instead, I feel myself begin to flounder, searching my brain for a solution. I'm drawing blanks. The only response that jumps to my mind is the truthful one, the Hotel Loen. But I obviously cannot give that away. I make a show of biting my lip in concentration. Anton looks at me expectantly. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really can't recall. I'll have to go back to the train station later and ask again. If you do that, you will have to go past the guards again. Damn it. A pity you cannot remember. It would have been a shame if, given how ill you believe him to be, he was not staying at the appropriate sort of establishment for his health. Oh? This area is riddled with spa hotels claiming to be holistic retreats, but are actually no more than an inn with a doctor on site. They are very good at taking advantage of American money as well. You don't say. What is he getting at? They also have been known to transfer guests at the drop of a hat, for reasons unknown. My stomach drops. Is he being truthful? If so, could it be that Herbert Denham is not even where I believe him to be? If his plan is to worry me, it's working. I think there's a telephone here. The owner keeps it up front. You could call the station right now. Ah, there it is. He's calling my bluff. I clear my throat. Oh no, I couldn't leave the table to do such a thing. It's so rude. Please, I don't mind. Wouldn't you rather know than spending our dinner fretting about it? He gestures toward the front of the restaurant. There is indeed a telephone next to the hostess podium. I turn back to him slowly and force a smile. You're right, mein Herr. I will go make that call. Excuse me. Take your time. I want to eat potato bread. What does that taste like? Wavering a bit, I stalk toward the front. I glance over my shoulder. Anton is watching. He will no doubt be able to hear me from up here as well. He almost looks amused. God, what have I gotten myself into? The restaurant's host asks me how he can help. May I use your telephone for a personal call? He swings the telephone around me and excuses himself to the kitchen. And clear my throat again, a nervous habit that Margot has endlessly scolded me about. Hopefully Anton doesn't pick up on it. Who am I kidding? He's definitely picked up on it. Oh, cute. Our girl on the phone. I roll my eyes and pick up the earpiece, where I immediately ask for a destination for my call. Badizer Banov, please. Station master's office. Connecting you. Please hold the line. I grip the telephone receiver with a clammy hand as I wait for someone to pick up. This is so stupid. What am I going to say? I can't ask for a list of spa hotels in an area at risk of being overheard. Anton will know I'm looking for a lie to feed him. And I can't just... I am sorry, ma'am, but it seems the recipient is not answering. May I direct your call somewhere else? She rolls her eyes. Oh, hello, yes. This is Lillian Sinclair. You left a note for me earlier at the station.
Ma'am?
Yes, the redhead coming from Paris. Oh, that is kind of you to say. Thank you.
What?
Well, I was wondering if you remembered which hotel the note mentioned. It's no problem. I will wait. I rang, waiting for the station master to give me the information. The operator is growing more and more annoyed.
Please hang up this line.
Oh, right. That's what it was. That a good natured chuckle. Ha 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 ha.
If you do not get off now, I will call the police.
Uh-huh, yes, I understand. I peer back over my shoulder again to see Anton still watching me as expected.
But, like, what is going to be your answer, girl? I love it. We love the acting.
I give a little wave before turning back. Thank you for your help. Bye-bye now. I hang up the telephone and shuffle back to the table.
Well,
all that to do, and I still don't have a viable lie. The way things are going, it wouldn't surprise me if he insisted on escorting me to the hotel after dinner, unless he decides to arrest me first. I guess I'm out of options. The Hotel Loen.
That hotel has a good reputation. Your uncle should be just fine, and it's not far from here.
Oh, good. Seeing that I've returned to the table, our waiter comes back for our order. I've been so busy dodging Anton's traps that I haven't really thought about what to eat. I stare back at our waiter blankly.
I can order for you if you'd like.
My last meal, and I don't even get to pick it.
Everything will be delicious, I promise.
I trust you entirely. Anton smirks at this.
Your trust is too easily won.
Must be that smile of yours. The waiter gives a small cough, reminding us of his presence. Anton orders an assortment of dishes for us, sending the waiter on his way once more. I absently fiddle with the napkin in my lap, but soon stop myself, realizing how it might come off. I'm a bundle of nerves, but I can't look it. I still need to charm him if I can. Margot would tell me to keep at it, even if it feels like I'm getting nowhere. I lean forward slightly. I want him to see how coppery my hair shines in the candlelight, how big my eyes can get if I gaze intensely enough at him. I lick my lips. I watch for his reaction, for any sign of interest, but he just leans back and clears his throat.
How long do you think you're staying in Lorac?
Again, he seems impervious to my physical cues. He must be ignoring them, because otherwise he'd have to be oblivious, and he is definitely not that. Anton, all we've done is talk about me. I feel like I'm going on and on about myself.
Yes, well, there seems to be a lot to unravel. The more you speak, the more I want to know.
He lightly drums his fingers against the edge of his glass. I have his attention, his full engagement, and yet not a thing I try reaches him. It would be almost better if he flinched at my purred words, if he were annoyed by my light touches. I'd even accept his disgust. But he gives me no sign one way or the other.
Maybe he's just really good at hiding what he's feeling.
I can't read him at all, and it's infuriating. I dig my hand into the breadbasket between us and grab a spongy roll. Taking my irritation out on the roll, I tear it into small pieces before popping some into my mouth. It's chewy. Not terrible, but not great either.
Okay, good to know.
Anton was right, which only adds to my displeasure. A soft chuckle from across the table makes me look up from my plate. Is he laughing at me?
Sorry, it's just... Never mind.
He misses the prickly look that I shoot while he reaches into his pocket to check something. I catch a glint of metal before he tucks what I can only assume was a pocket watch back into his jacket. Was he checking the time? After everything he's put me through, now he's bored? I bristle and give him a little cough to let him know that I see him. It's enough to get his attention back. He straightens, chastened and ready to resume business. As he leans forward, I glower back, daring him to pose the next question. But it doesn't come, almost as though he's changed his mind about asking. The awkward silence that follows is made worse by his breaking eye contact in favor of looking about the room.
What? You know, I love this ghost house, but they never play the phonograph there in the corner. Maybe it's broken. A shame.
Huh? My annoyance turns to confusion. I blink at him, speechless.
Do you like music, Lillian? Why'd you give up?
Why would he ask me about that? I sputter dumbly.
I play the harp. That's lovely. Your hands are so delicate, so you must be well suited to it. He reaches towards my hand, lightly moving my fingers away from the glass. Too shocked to pull away, I let him admire them. He's been so resistant to all of my attempts to seduce him. I wasn't even doing anything flirtatious at that moment. What changed? Is the wine not to your liking? What? You've hardly touched it. We can order something else if you want. No, it's delicious. I was just savoring it. He continues to flit from topic to topic for a while until our food arrives. I nod and smile through it all, but I truly have no idea what's going on. The meal looks just as sumptuous as promised. Spiced meat, tender vegetables, pickled sides, and rich sauces. Ooh, but I hardly taste what I'm putting into my mouth for my nerves. I keep expecting him to resume the interrogation, but he goes on as if we were out on an actual date. This must be a trick. There is this phrase in English I saw in a film once. Films of this era were silent. All dialogue would have been written out on cards. Good reminder. I do like seeing the silent films. I feel it very much describes you. Oh, what's that? You are really something, aren't you? Okay. Why do you think that describes me? Well, it means both nothing and everything. Calling someone a something means you can't figure them out, yet you are intrigued nonetheless. And I desperately wish to figure you out, Lillian Sinclair. It sounds like he's making a compliment, but his scrutinizing behavior at the start of dinner is still fresh in my mind. My teeth grind as frustration turns inwards. I thought it was made for this sort of thing. I thought that I was the kind of person who could swim through social niceties with ease and come out on top. But I feel like I'm losing, and I don't know why. Anton is toying with me, and I can't stop him. I sound more miffed than I want to let on when I respond. Tell me, just what is left for you to figure out, Anton? You're upset. Of course I am. And yet, I don't want him to see me lose my temper. Then he would know how much he has gone into me. I have to take a deep breath and gather myself before responding. I'm not upset. I just feel like I'm having whiplash. Whiplash. You bully me into dinner, give me the third degree, then you start flirting out of nowhere. I don't know what to expect from you minute to minute. There's a long, awkward silence. Did I just make a mistake calling him out? Anton considers me for a moment. I think I understand what you're saying. And you were right. I've made a terrible mess of this. An admission. I should have never withheld your passport. I wanted so badly to continue our time together, and I was so sure he would turn me down. It was incredibly selfish of me. How is it that he is agreeing with me, yet I still feel like I'm being conned? Then I jumped right into talking about politics. We were getting stuck in small talk, and I thought I could even enliven the conversation by bringing up something more personal. I didn't realize that was a rude thing to do until it was too late. That's not an impossible explanation, but I have a hard time believing him to be nervous. He's been so calm and collected this whole time. He's either lying or he's a master at projecting confidence. And the third degree, was it? I'm not familiar with that phrase. The questions, Anton. It's been nothing but questions. Oh, I didn't mean to ask so many. I like to think my English isn't bad, but sometimes I worry that I've missed something, so I keep trying to clarify. I'm sorry. This is all very super plausible, and in a different context, I would maybe believe it a little bit more, but I do not believe it. My evaluation of this man in terms of like credibility or like truthfulness is very low. I would not trust him right now personally, but Lillian, I think he's also like, I feel like to some degree like I could see it, but also like maybe this is gonna get her to like open up if we like admit these things. But I think he's into her. That is for certain. Like absolutely, they're into each other. That's absolutely for certain. But like it doesn't negate the fact that like he was definitely curious about her because of like work reasons and spy reasons, whatever. Anyways, There's a bit of guilt that pokes through my overall frustration. I know better than anyone how hard it can be to conduct your life in a language that is not your own. No matter how fluent you are, you can't always express yourself with the precision you want. He's been speaking English this whole time for my benefit. I can sympathize with that plight, but I'm not fully convinced. Good. You should have this back. He reaches into his pocket, revealing a folded piece of paper. My passport. He slides it over the tablecloth towards me. I pick it up and see my own picture looking back at me. Nothing amiss. I won't hold you hostage anymore. If you want to leave now, I understand. No hard feelings. I cautiously tuck my passport into my handbag. Leaving would be the smart thing to do. Get up, run from here, and try to find Denim before any more obstacles arise. Don't give the universe a chance to screw this mission up even more. I'm about to push my chair out to go, but hesitate. With my passport safely back in my hands, I have the only means of escape I require. If he found me suspicious and is planning to arrest me, there's no way he'd return my passport and his only leverage. In which case, maybe he's not an agent, or a policeman, or anything at all. Maybe he's simply as inept at romance as he claims. I start to think back on the dinner up until now, his questions, his behaviors, and subsequent explanations. My work with the DB has changed how I view the world and how I look at the people around me. I don't move through life the same way anymore. Has it caused me to see danger when there is none? If I was seeing the events leading up to now as Lillian Sinclair, young woman, and not Lillian Sinclair, French agent, would this day really have been so bad? So, Lillian, will you go or stay? I shift uncomfortably. Seeing my hesitation, he reaches across the table and takes my hand. Say you'll stay. I would very much like to redeem myself. Anton's eyes are golden in the glow of the restaurant's ambient light. They regard me with such sincerity that it hurts a little. He's once again the man from the train with whom I'd connected so deeply. Recalling those moments makes my heart swell. They make me happy. You don't meet someone like that every day. True that, but also balancing this sense of duty and obligation. What are you supposed to do? Actually, I honestly, it is Lillian's first mission, but also at the same time, it is a life that she's dedicated herself to in training and effort and time and energy, etc. So, I'm not saying that she can't have her fun, but there is the sense of duty and obligation that she has chosen. Not to say you can't unchoose it and decide to go on a different path, but what are we supposed to do after this? What are they supposed to do? I don't know. And even then, knowing that, I did the right thing. I walked away. But fate threw Anton in my path again. Once I leave La Roque, that will be it. I won't meet another Anton. This will be my last opportunity to be Lillian Sinclair, young woman. Herbert Denham will be all right on his own for one more hour. I'll stay. I mean, I get that. She's gonna go for one more hour. That. But, I worry. I worry what this means, you know? He lights up and gives me a brilliant grin. The twinkle in his eye makes it impossible not to smile back, at least a little. That's a relief. You keep thinking you know what I'll do next. And you keep surprising me, in the best ways. With a small smile, I settle back into my seat and return to my dinner. When I take another bite of a pillowy soft dumpling drenched in velvety gravy, it feels like I'm tasting it for the first time. This food is actually incredible. What kind of meat is this? I point with my fork to the other side of my plate. Venison. Not to pressure you, but have you tried it with the wine? I take a bite and follow it with a sip from my glass. Oh my God. He smiles broadly, taking pride in my obvious enjoyment. You have really good taste, you know that? I'm sure I made it painfully obvious on the train, but I like food. You're a gourmand. I'm just a man who likes to eat and drink. Forgive my bluntness, but you don't look like it. He runs a hand through his hair, embarrassed again. Thank you. I wasn't always like this, though. My indulgences were very apparent as a child. You're joking. It's true. I was perfectly round. Then one day I shot up. I can't help but laugh, but I try to curb it. Every child has an awkward phase. I feel like I'm still in one. I'm all elbows and knees like I was when I was 13. You liar. Really?
The boy across the street used to call me Matchstick because I was all skinny and red on top. If that boy saw you now, he'd regret every word. I suddenly feel shy. I tuck into my wine to hide the fact that my cheeks are coloring. In my attempt to quash my awkwardness, though, I find myself drinking more than I initially intended. No, Lillian. It's okay, though. Okay. I also checked my time, and I'm a little out of it. So we're gonna see if anything happens in the next 3-4 lines. If not, I'm gonna cut it for today. I drain my glass. Anton looks on, surprised. Should I be keeping up? I'm sorry, this wine is really good. Then we shouldn't let it go to waste. He tips his glass back, finishing it to the last drop. When he comes back up for air, he sets it down with a satisfied sigh. I laugh. You good there? Yeah, we need more, I think. How about one of those white wines you were raving about? Of course. He beckons over the waiter, leaving me to finish up my plate. After the last dumpling has been conquered, I sit back, pleasantly full. Good meal, good libations, and good company. This is how a date should be. Absolutely. I'm beginning to forget how badly it started, especially as I watch Anton so in his element. He's ordering our wine with such elation. There seems to be no more attempt on his part to appear cool and collected. He looks happy. The waiter comes back with a bottle of white. I think I'm going to wait until they are done at the restaurant. And then I'll cut it. Anton pours us each a healthy amount. The conversation and wine flow in equal measure. With each sip, I let go of my concerns a little more and surrender to enjoying the moment. So, you complained before about me asking you too many questions. I'd like to even the score. You want me to ask you questions now? Yeah. Anything I want? I'm an open book. So, he's giving me a carte blanche. He's waiting for me to take my turn. I can tell he's the sort of person to easily bat away any probing questions. But I also have noticed he seems to like spontaneity. Okay, I think this is going to get into... I lied. I'm going to stop here because this seems like it's going to get into a little bit and then, it's going to keep going. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am enjoying this, though I'm still highly suspicious of Anton. Yeah, I think he's a complex person. I will leave my comments to the actual end because I kind of already know some aspects of him based on Emil's route, but we obviously don't know as much because this is, us, aka Lillian, interacting with him directly. So I'm gonna save those for next time. But if you have liked the video, please like the video and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of Anton's route and how Lillian's gonna deal with him. And are we gonna save Herbert Denham? I hope so. Are we gonna see Emil? I also hope so. We'll see. So we'll just see how it is. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!